Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about SeungWoo Choi versus Kevin Vallejos. This is the first fight on the main card. What are we doing? Why did we put this on the main card? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Kevin Vallejos is in a UFC debut. I know none of you guys want to bet on UFC debuts, but he's on the main card in the debut. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They gave him SeungWoo Choi, this Korean kid with no chin. I want to describe SeungWoo Choi for you guys. He is the Korean Trevor Peek. If you don't know Trevor Peek, he's known for being trailer park tough, right? SeungWoo Choi, if you punch him just right, he will flip the switch and just start the UFP, the Universal Fight Plan. He has no idea what he wants to do. He just starts throwing them things. And when you study SeungWoo Choi, you need to do it with a grain of salt, because you might go back and look at some of his older results and be like, this guy's got a fighting chance to win this fight. No, he doesn't. This is a low IQ fighter with no chin. This guy, yes, he beat Yusuf Zalal. It could happen. It's the UFC. Anything can happen. I can be wrong. But I'm telling you that those wins against Yusuf Zalal and Julian Erosa, they're the worst thing that ever happened for this guy, because then they started thinking he's the real deal. And he's lost 4 out of his last 5. We found out he has no chin and no IQ. One of the things that he bugs me with is he uses the wrong tool for the job. I'm talking about having a nail and trying to use a drill to put it in. Having a screw and trying to use a hammer. He's doing the wrong things when he fights. There are combos you should be throwing. And the combos you should be throwing, the most fundamental one that I teach is jab, cross, hook. 1, 2, 3. Jab is a 1, cross is a 2, hook is a 3. SeungWoo Choi starts his fights with lead hooks. Starts his combos with lead hooks. That's cool and all when you're in the pocket. If we were fighting in a phone booth, some of you young kids don't know what a phone booth is, but payphones used to be in this little booth. And if 2 people got in there, that shit was tight. That's where you want to use hooks. You want to use hooks to finish your combos when you've closed the distance with the enemy. But if you're at max range and you have a longer reach, you should be using jabs, crosses, kicks. Not this guy. This guy uses the wrong tool for the wrong situation, and you can't trust it. And then you're fighting a guy like Kevin Vallejos, who stronger. Yes, he's shorter. Yep, he's a little short. But he's covered in muscle, strong as a bull, and he hits hard. He's a great striker. You can tell, a natural striker. Trains with Rubovics, our lock from last week who missed. But in Argentina, they got these guys that are out there throwing them things. Very good, well-rounded fighter. Can do everything. And if you ever want to be impressed with Kevin Vallejos, go back and watch his only loss of his life. His only loss ever is to fighting nerd John Silva, who's undefeated. John Silva, who has walked through so many people since joining the UFC. He's walked through everybody. Guess who he didn't walk through? Kevin Vallejos. In that first fight, you're watching it, and you're watching these 2 muscle-bound monsters. And we know John Silva just walks through people. Super knockouts and all this stuff. But you're not seeing that. And then they say, well, Kevin Vallejos knocks everybody out, and he's tough, and you're not seeing that either. Why? Because he's fighting John Silva. And so we don't realize it when we're watching a Dana White Contender Series. You're watching 2 behemoths. You're watching the Super Bowl, and you don't realize it. You're watching a main card fight, and you don't realize it. Because you're just seeing 2 guys from the regional scene, and you're like, oh, that guy's not that good. Oh, they said he's a knockout artist. Why is he not crushing him? Oh, look at that guy. He keeps running around the cage. Because the whole first round, Kevin Vallejos is stalking John Silva, which has never been seen in the UFC. He's stalking him, cutting him off, owning the octagon, wins the first round. He loses the next 2 rounds, and then they send him back to the regional scene, and Dana White's going, I wasn't too impressed. I wasn't too impressed. He didn't put up a fight. He didn't go out there and walk through a guy. And John Silva didn't impress me that much. He found a way to win, but yeah, we'll get him in here because he's part of the fighting nerds. We'll get him in here. And then once they see John Silva start beating the hell out of everybody in the UFC, they go, hold up. Who was that guy he was fighting that gave him everything he could handle? Oh, it was Kevin Vallejos? We need to get that guy back. They go, hey, how's he doing on the regional scene? He fought 2 fights and they lasted about 5 minutes. What? No, he's just been beating the hell out of everybody. Okay, let's get him back on Contender Series. What does he do? Wins by knockout in the first round. They said, oh, man, we got to get him in the UFC. And here he is. He's a monster. He's a problem. I love the way he fights. I love the way he rolls his shoulders, protects himself, defensively sound, and he bangs. Now, odds are tough, man. Odds are tough because SeungWoo Choi is still, he's going to scrap. He's not worthless. He's won some fights. I mean, he's been fighting UFC for a while now, and he's won some fights. This isn't some road to UFC guy. Those guys are on the prelims. He's actually a decent fighter. The thing is no chin and no IQ. What are you doing? You're about to be in a real fight with Kevin Vallejos, and Vallejos is going to put it on you. Now, the fucking odds are insane. Do I think 590 is fine? Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I would bet the 590. I would parlay that. It's a lock for me. Let me pull up. Excuse me. This can't be happening. Look, it was 725. Now it's 590. That's way better. I'll take that all day. I know that sounds crazy to you guys because I never advocate for betting on a minus 500 fighter. But in this particular case, styles make fights. And the style here is pretty simple. One guy can really scrap, and the other one is dumb and can't scrap. Real. So, Vallejos by knockout is minus 150. That's not very good. It's not very good odds. I don't like that fight. I don't like that bet. I think it's going to happen. But I wish it was just a better payout, and it's not there. I like that a lot. I do. I want him to go out there and just crush this kid and win by knockout. Is the fight going the distance? I say no. It's minus 340. That's parlayable. Okay. But if you want to get really specific here, Vallejos by knockout in the first round is 210. I don't want you to be disappointed, MVPs. You go put a unit on that, and then you're sitting there praying for it, and it doesn't happen, and you just lost. So be careful. Total rounds. I like the under, and it's a 108. That is perfectly fine to get yourself a unit, a large pizza. You don't have to get rich. This isn't where you want to get rich. I think that, although I believe that Vallejos is walking through this kid, they have protected themselves. Vegas has with these odds, and it's to the point where it's like, don't go too crazy. Yes, Vallejos winning this fight. Yes, he's much better than Choi. Choi is not a scrub. It's just Vallejos, we got to believe it. Now it's a debut. We could be way wrong. That happens all the time. Debuts, guys show up, got jitters, adrenaline dump, nerves, out of breath, exhausted after the first 3 minutes, and you're going, damn it, I just lost all my money. So careful. But I'm Rico Knows. I analyze fighters, and I'm analyzing Vallejos as a straight-up dog. And I think he's a beast. And I think Choi does not belong in a cage with this man. No, he's fighting for his family. He's the one of 4 brothers. He's the youngest brother in his family. He's just out there trying to earn his keep. He comes from nothing. And when I see fighters who come from nothing do this shit, yeah, I believe in them. These dudes over here, this dude's got weak DNA, bro. I'm just letting you know. Weak DNA. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows.